Hello, how are you today?
Good.
Good, good, thank you. Welcome to Introduction to Psychology. Today is Mental Wealth Day, so if you, I know you're watching us, but keep thinking about, we need to take care of yourself and being aware of your surroundings. So it's really good time to think about mental health. So I'm wearing those T-shirts. I know you're in on the campus, but you can think about those. So I want to remind you, tomorrow is the day you need to take exam 2. Exam 2 is just like exam 1. It's an online exam, so you can take the exam through the Blackboard. Okay, are you ready, Daniel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a study guide, so you can checking on all the important points, and you can be ready for the exam. So tomorrow, anytime you just pick up the time and then take the exam. Okay, kind of friendly reminder to you. So we kind of stop here, Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. So you've been talking about spatial intelligence, and how about the musical? We kind of go over between those interpersonal and intrapersonal, right? Yeah. So Daniel, if you're thinking of you, do you feel like you have both, like interpersonal and intrapersonal, those intelligence, or more like intrapersonal, or maybe interpersonal?
Yeah, definitely. It depends. I think I'm a little more intrapersonal,
Okay.
but I can be interpersonal if it's required.
Depending on the surroundings and context, because sometimes even though maybe intrapersonal, those person, they need to be speak up. Yeah, so I guess that's a good answer. So honestly, I was more like an intrapersonal person. I was really extremely shy person, and I didn't like my personality. I tried to change it from young age, and I feel like I'm pretty much social, and maybe interpersonal element is there. But I feel like after talking to someone else and maybe having good time with other my friends and coming back home, I feel very relaxed and feeling good. I feel like I recharged through just being alone. Like I kept thinking of you. So if you feel like that, that means more like you have intrapersonal intelligence. Intrapersonal intelligence. But of course, we do have both interpersonal and intrapersonal. So naturalistic. Is anybody love to take care of animals? Like if you have a dog and cat and cows and pigs and taking care of them and very good at even like plants. Honestly, I do not know about the plants. I do not have a pet, but I have a plant, lots of plant pets in my office and in my home too. Sometimes it just grow well, but many times I just like kill them. I mean I try to give water, but sometimes I give water too much. So maybe I didn't have much those naturalistic intelligence. But how about Daniel? You're pretty good at
I
it?
mean, when it comes to animal weather and other aspects of the environment, yeah. Plants, I mean, I appreciate plants and I wouldn't mind growing a garden, but I'm not good at it.
Oh,
Like, I
okay.
specifically bought a ponytail palm tree because it's a desert plant. So I
Okay.
don't have to worry about
Okay.
missing a day watering it.
Yeah, they will survive anyway, right? Okay, I need that kind of plant. Yeah, those are naturalistic, but I realize several students, they're really into taking care of their dog and cats, and even like like outside, kind of wandering those dogs too, they're really into. So those are naturalistic intelligence. Existential, so maybe you may notice that Gardner was begin with a 7 until was like intrapersonal, and then he added 2 more that was naturalistic, and the last one was existential. So depending on the textbook, some of the textbook introduce Gardner's 7 multiple intelligences, and another my developmental psychology, that class kind of introduced Gardner's 8 multiple intelligences. They didn't add the last one, existential. But this class, textbook include existential. So existential means, are you seeking for the purpose of your life? Where I'm coming from? Is there any God? If there is true God, who will be? Have you ever think about in that direction, Daniel? Like seeking some
Yeah.
help outside
Yeah.
yourself?
I
And
feel like
pray?
everybody, thinks about, the meaning of life and what their purpose for is on earth. I really wouldn't feel like that's an intelligence. I mean, I guess it could be if you're thinking about the aspect of somebody that doesn't have the brain capacity that we do, and they just kind of go through life without really having a purpose per se.
Okay, very good. So existentialists try to think about meaning of life and, where are you coming from? Is there any some, absolute person who created this whole world? And because if you do not think about it in that way, everything is so scientific, but at the same time, there are mysteries, surrounding there. So try to find the purpose of the life and where we are coming from and coming to. Yeah, after that, where we go, maybe go to heaven or maybe hell, and we do not know. Yeah, maybe stay here, our maybe spirit. Yeah, so thinking about in that, content and more like into and study, those are existential intelligence. So do you like those multiple intelligences? We've been talking about intelligence. There's
Makes
only
a lot more
one.
sense.
More makes sense?
Yeah, instead of just, a couple, it makes sense to have a bunch of different ones.
Okay. So, originally, there's only one, like a general G, general intelligence. It will cover every area of our intelligence. No, there are two. Yeah, two. One is more like a solving novel skill and novel situation and problem solving versus, accumulated knowledge, which is like, one and the other. And no, there are several different chunk of cluster. So we want to say those are specific intelligence, but under some cluster. Right? Yeah. And this one is more like, there are more than 3, more than 5. Actually, there are 9 multiple intelligences. So guess what? I really like his theory, but he got lots of critiques as well. So if you're thinking of, musical intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, existential intelligence, what if chess intelligence? What if piano intelligence? Because kind of divide by all the more kind of detailed information. But still, I think, this multiple intelligence perspective give us more broad kind of, our definition of intelligence and give us more chance. Yeah. So honestly, maybe there's a person who does not good at maybe mathematical concept and maybe language wise, maybe lacking, but with that person will be really good at taking care of animal. Yeah, maybe having some in the heart and love, and maybe that person know how to take care of plants. Unlike us, right? So I want to say that person is intelligent as well, not only who is doing like a book smart.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So in terms of that, I really like the Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. Okay, so this is like the last slide. We are talking about emotional intelligence. Have you ever heard about like emotional intelligence?
I've heard of it. Never broke it down.
Yeah. So when we say intelligence, we are thinking about, book smart, maybe practical knowledge, right? Maybe common sense. But recently, we need to consider about emotional intelligence. Thinking about, maybe you may write down, maybe think about what would be most important characteristics working together. Maybe at the company, maybe at school, and what do you think most important element to work together with someone else?
Just understanding, honestly, psychology in a way, because, you got to be able to read the signs in somebody on whether, they're happy, sad, mad, whether, I don't know, there's just a lot to just a normal conversation, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yes. So thinking about that, maybe somebody should be knowledgeable in that area for sure. But at the same time, if the person doesn't have any social intelligence, like a social interaction, maybe lacking those social, communication part, it can be really challenging. Maybe it's not fun to work together, right? So even though you're maybe a little lacking knowledge-wise, because we can learn each other, maybe knowledge can be, we can explore more later on. But those are like a personality who is not willing to open their mind and having conversation, it can be really challenging because it's really hard to change them for a couple of days. So emotional intelligence means you have your own ability to aware of your emotional status right now. So Daniel, I'm assume your content and feeling good and comfort right now. Yeah, I mean, I wish you could feel like that. Yeah, I'm too. I'm a little bit excited and happy to see Daniel and other students through this in online format of TV and. Yeah, so that's my emotional status. And emotional intelligence means not only you aware of your own emotional status, but also you need to catch other people's emotion. Because sometimes maybe Daniel came to this room and maybe you do not, maybe it looks a little sad or maybe like a frustrated. I can kind of catch, maybe assume, maybe the on the way to driving, maybe it was really stressful, maybe I can assume in that way, or maybe he didn't maybe do well, maybe exam possibly. But we can kind of assume, try to understand other people's emotion as well, and be sensitive and try to care and ask them nicely. That's really emotional intelligence. So ability to sense and manage emotions in yourself and others. So those are more like a positive way we can thinking about emotion. But how about emotional regulation? If you're thinking about you feel really angry and mad and frustrated, what is your way to cope with that situation?
I mean, I don't really get mad that often. When I do get mad, I get really mad. But it takes a lot. It really does. But
Okay.
if that's the case, then I just try and get away from whatever it is that's making me mad at the moment.
Like a leave that
Yeah, just
spot.
leave, come back. Whenever
Okay.
I'm a lot calmer.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've just done that a lot.
Yeah.
It's just easier to avoid that type of stuff.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
point. And I don't know, anger doesn't stay around very long. Even if I went to bed mad and I wake up, I'm not gonna be able to be mad when I wake up. It's gone. So.
Very good, because I think very similar to you, because somehow I'm kind of emotionally sensitive and I cannot hold those a strong, maybe like a bad and sad and those mad emotion that makes me hurt, honestly. So I'd better let go. Just kind of let go, and just like you, try to not to think about that scene. Maybe leave the spot, but sometimes we cannot leave, right? You need to deal with all the surroundings and just kind of think about other things, like maybe joyful moment instead of, get some those, total mess of that situation. So that's maybe my coping strategy too. But I know some of them, they speak up and kind of maybe fight against maybe somebody else, maybe some situation. But for me, that makes me maybe think over and over the situation. So at nighttime, I feel like regret, what I'm saying. So I don't want to make a mistake and maybe feeling not that great, even if I kind of won the debate, I guess. So try to not to think, maybe be silent and then maybe leave that place. That's my maybe coping strategy. Yeah. So since we've been talking about intelligence, was it like an interesting topic, like intelligence and language and those heuristics, educated guess? Yeah. Okay, and there are lots of research is done about intelligence. Since intelligence is really cool, subject, and there are lots of scholars too. There's still ongoing debate is going on because this is the right definition. Maybe you need to see this aspect more and here and there. Have you ever taken any IQ test when you were in maybe elementary school? Even like try to put you into gifted and talented program or not? And sometimes we need to put you some special education class because we need to some extra help, right? Yeah. So do you remember if you take any like IQ test, if you remember?
I might have taken an IQ test whenever I transferred from homeschool to actual public school.
Okay.
I don't remember it, but I remember like I had a 12th grade reading level and all that stuff when I was in
really
4th grade.
Wow.
So they were like, they were saying, I was good. But I also, in the military, they give you an IQ type of test that evaluates what type of skills and intelligences that you have and gives you a job based off of your intelligence.
Wow.
And nursing was one of them, which is why I'm kind of in nursing, but
Very good. So I wanna regard you. Maybe you are in more gifted and talented that spectrum, not like a typical or maybe some extra help. Those maybe special needs kids. So if you remember anything, like you don't need to tell me like a specific question, but what was like content wise those IQ tests? There are lots of mathematical and maybe like some.
I think it was all of it. I think it went over all of the intelligences really, because it would give you scenarios of, and this is the military test that I'm talking about, because I really can't remember. I think the school one was mostly each subject.
It's a subject.
But whenever you're in the military, it gives you scenarios and it gives you actual problems to solve and goes over math, science, all of that. And it tells you how well you work with others, how well you can lead others, how well, all of this, and then gives you a job based off of it.
I see. That's really interesting. Yeah. So, we've been talking about IQ test a lot in the past because, scholars find out there are positive correlation. If you have a high IQ test score when you are maybe elementary school and junior high, so when you become maybe a high elementary school, IQ test scores, it will be correlated with you have a better SAT score. Maybe better, like all the subject matter, you get maybe higher score. And then you get maybe better, maybe entering some better school, like a college-wise. And you have a better job and, more income. So there's like a little, like correlation of those taking, having good IQ score versus like consequences later on. But we need to think about what's the real meaning of intelligence. Does intelligence mean only those subject area, like mathematics area, analytic area, maybe language art and reading, those portion? There should be other, way we should measure somebody else's intelligence, just like naturalistic intelligence and existential intelligence. Because some of them, they are really genius at certain particular area, but maybe they may not have a good IQ score. Because traditional IQ score was focusing on those big subjects like mathematics and language and analytic portion. I mean, we should maybe measure as knowledge-wise, but they can be the portion of the intelligence. So I do believe we are all intelligence in certain area for sure. Yeah, so there was a good conversation. Let's do like a little your cognition test. It's not like a real test, but it's more like a fun way. We can play a little bit here, and then let's go to the next chapter. So since we've been talking about cognition, language, thinking, and intelligence, this is like a string problem. String problem, how do you tie the two strings? If you're looking at that one, you can reach, obviously. You have a little bit of those in the space there. So I will give you a couple of maybe seconds. Yeah, you can think. And how can you, possibly you can tie those two strings. There should be maybe so many different ways.
I already think of the logical one that I would do.
Okay. You already have some ideas?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to like exactly explain the knot.
Yeah.
But, so like, you see how he can't reach that one rope? He can either extend so if we're facing it mirrored, he would extend his right arm upwards, which would allow him to go left more. And if that doesn't work, he can just swing the rope and let it, come back to him while he's grabbing the other rope.
Okay.
And then all you would need is a fisherman's polymer knot, and you could put both of those together.
Okay, very good. You already gave us good solution. So I know you wanna kind of try to swing by the other side and try to kind of knot. Would you like to use any tools in the scene?
No, probably not. I probably wouldn't have to, unless you just wanted to cut the tag end off of the rope.
Okay. I was thinking of my first thing is I was thinking about maybe you can stand on that desk, yeah, And then maybe possibly you can go to like a Tarzan, like and then go and then grab to the other side. But it can be a little challenging because maybe tie those rope is not that strong enough to hold you, right? So let's just see the correct answer means at least like a textbook try to provide some answer. So here on that desk, there's like a flyer. So you kind of making some knot the flyer. The flyer can go back and forth because the rope can be very light, yeah. So it does have a weight and go back and forth. So you can kind of catch it and then you kind of knot one. So
That
you
was
got
pretty much what I said.
So you got the right answer. Very good job. Very good job. And next one can be a little challenging, but it's kind of fun. So let's do here. So those dot problem. Draw 4 straight lines without lifting your pencil and without touching any dot more than once, but use all dots. Honestly, I couldn't get this until I kind of see the answer. So if you're watching my video clip, maybe draw 9 dots on any paper and try to figure it out. So you need to make 4 straight lines without lifting your pencil. It should be kind of done one time, right? And also you cannot touch any dot more than once. Yeah, I will give you time. Think about it. This can be a little challenging for everybody. You wanna use the paper and try to
I'm trying to figure it out. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, so I didn't get this, for sure. And you need to think about, think out of box, more it's really challenging if you want to kind of keep thinking about only drawing inside of those only dots. So think more like outside of your, user thinking, outside of your, box. So. If you, maybe draw the 9 dots and do those. Yeah, we've been talking about cognition and language and thinking and intelligence. So it will be like a little challenging activities, but kind of let you think. If you got some challenge the concept and those tasks, your brain is activating and try to learn more. So it can be good challenging. I will show one more time. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an idea.
You want to see the answer?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so let's go see I have one more question and then we can go to the next chapter. So here, this is like a Tower of Hanoi. If you're looking at here, there's a nice stack of those rings, right? So I can draw my ring. I can draw. So I'm glad I brought lots of papers today, so I can draw for you. Oh, it's right here. So there's a last pole here. We are gonna move everything into those stack to the last pole. But there's a rule. You can only move one disc at a time. One disc at a time. And a bigger disc can go onto the smaller disc. So the question is, see how quickly you can solve the tower problem and what is the fewest number of moves required to solve the problem. What is the fewest kind of number? So thinking about moving and big one and small one. Yeah, so you got this rule. Yeah, at least you need to move one by one, and the bigger stick cannot go top of those smaller stack. Yeah, so if you tell me how many times you need to move all the way those stack to the last one. I know you got this. So think about it. So while you are moving all the stacks from first one to the last, you can use this second, pole, kind of, yeah.
Just looking at it.
Yeah, stay there. So if you're thinking about maybe you need to move this one to the here or maybe here, either way. But there's a rule: the bigger stack cannot go top of the smaller one.
I can't remember all the steps I'm doing.
Okay, yeah, no problem, no problem. Would you like to try, or maybe we wanna see the answer?
How would I try? Just by memory?
Yeah, thinking about
Just the count?
yeah, so
Yeah,
count
it's quite hard to remember a count thinking about all that
Yeah,
shit.
no problem, no problem. So I'm gonna show the answer, but it's a little tilted, but we got the answer too. So let's see. So first, the last one, and the second one, and go top, and all the way the last one, and then moving the first track, and then because we don't want to violate those rules. Yeah. So did you count
Oh,
how many
that's
times
easy.
kind of list? Yeah.
That's easy.
That's
I didn't know
easy.
you were allowed to freaking
Uh-huh.
skip over. I thought you had to go on each,
I
like a
see.
staircase.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could go
Yeah, you can go.
all the way across.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
So
would have been able
here,
to do that.
let's go. So how many times? We read like a fewest number of moves, if you remember one more time. So we can go together. The pink one goes to the last pole, so once.
They didn't even put it on the pole.
Uh-huh. And the blue one goes to the second. Yeah, so it's the second. And then the pink one goes to the top of those blue one, right? And then now we have only those green one. So green one go to the last pole.
Mm-hmm.
And then the green one should stay there, right? And the pink one should go to the first pole for a while, yeah? And then we move those blue one to the last pole, yeah? And then pink one that was kind of single there, so we are gonna move to on top of those blue one. So the 7 was the answer, the least amount of the kind of jumping back and forth. And it's kind of, you need to have some visualization of the whole stack and try to figure it out. But it was kind of game. I want to kind of little
Yeah.
challenging, thinking for fun. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this. And let's go to the next chapter, which is chapter 8. So next chapter is motivation and emotion. Honestly, motivation and emotion, that's really important topic. Are you a highly motivated person to reach your goal? maybe come to class and do certain things.
maybe for college. But
For the
not,
college?
not for much, no.
Okay,
The
not
only
you.
reason I'm motivated for college is I gotta pay it back if I fail.
Oh, okay. So you wanna do well in
Yeah.
college
Yep.
education?
And I also, I would like to actually know what I'm doing in my future job, unlike some people willing to cheat their way through college if
Yeah.
they can. I'd like to actually be good at what I do.
Yeah, because you wanna be a nurse and good nurse and to take care of lots of patients,
Yeah.
Wherever they need you will be
I want a
there.
hospital to look at my resume and be like, oh, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I know you will be good fit for the those hospital working place. So motivation and hunger and eating. Do you? I know you look very fit. That means you have a good nutrition and try to eat healthy. And I know try to regularly, like a regular exercise as well, right? So we will talk about hunger and eating because that can be part of motivation too. Because as a human being, kind of naturally we want to eat a couple of times per day, and we need a certain nutrition and calorie. But there's some ways some people they do not have maybe working not well those leptin and ghrelin. They want to keep eating even though you feel full. You cannot stop eating food. You just kind of keep eating and eating. Possibility is maybe the hormone does not secrete correctly, so you just kind of keep eating, feeling hunger. Yeah. So we will talk a little bit about those hunger and eating and emotion. So Daniel, if you're thinking about emotion, are you emotionally sensitive and highly emotionally intelligent and try to understand other people?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah. So it will be good topic. We are talking about emotion and maybe thinking about if somebody is really scared, maybe angry. Is it our physiological reaction first or our cognition first? For example, maybe big dog. I know you do not afraid any dog, but I'm afraid. So maybe big dog is kind of approaching to you and very jumpy and jumping to you and try to even harm you. Maybe you feel like they're even threatening those feeling. So big dog maybe running and try to approach to you. Can you describe your bodily reaction? Big dog, you do not know that dog, but try to kind of, running into you
I
very
mean,
quickly.
I'd be scared if I didn't know the dog and it was coming at me, but I don't know what I would do. It'd depend on the situation. If it was flying at me, I'd probably drop kick the thing or something. I don't know.
Okay,
It depends on the situation.
Yeah, sure. So thinking about that, for me, if a big dog try to approaching me, maybe my heartbeat goes up. And maybe my face can be turned raised because I feel really worried about the situation. And maybe I have a very dry mouth because I don't know what to do, yeah? And maybe my pupil will go widen, yeah, because I'm so, scared, right? And at the same time, I feel like I'm so scared. What should I do, right? So the scholars who study emotion, they want to analyze our emotion. So do you feel like those physiological reaction first, and then do we feel scared? Or we do feel scared first, and then physiological reaction will kind of come with us. Or possibly at the same time. Maybe the dog is kind of approaching to us. Our bodily reaction is there. At the same time, we feel scared.
Depends on how tired I am. But yes, I feel like it's kind of like you get scared first and then you react. But some of those reactions are involuntary. They just happen. You move.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that part as an emotion in this chapter. So it will be really interesting chapter. Honestly, motivation is really a matter for people to move their, like a position means, they are kind of, want to know more about, maybe better, do well in their job. And motivation is a really important element factor. Even I personally think it's more important than intelligence. I mean, intelligence is important, but I guess if you don't have any motivation, because I saw there are so many students, they are very intelligent, maybe IQ score wise, very high, but they are lack of some motivation. Yeah, it's really hard to reach their goal. Maybe not only small goal. So motivation is really important. So let's talk about motivation. So when we talk about motivation, what comes into your mind, Daniel? Motivation. When you hear motivation, Reward, yeah. Kind of working hard and there are some like consequences and reward, yeah. Okay, so it's a desire that stimulates and steers your behavior. It can be intentional and purposive behavior, and there are two different kinds of motivation. Intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivation is, I know Daniel is dedicated. He knows well and better at all the subject matter, and he want to be a good nurse. That's eventually his purpose, right? And you are very highly motivated to be a good, like a capable nurse, right? And those more like an intrinsic motivation. So extrinsic motivation is, I try to attend this class because I want to get A. That's all matter. Yeah, maybe the content-wise I can get it, but doesn't get it. The exam is really matter. Kind of friendly reminds you tomorrow is exam day, so you need to take the exam. But those content and all the assignment and learning process, that's important. But I really do care about my grade. This is really what I want to do, and that's more like extrinsic motivation. But honestly, when you are highly motivated to take the class and you do care about extrinsic motivation. You do care about good grade, right? So both, it's always be both. But if we divide the definition-wise, intrinsic is more like you want to learn. You want to know better about that content. That's why I'm taking this class, right? Those are more intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic is I need to take this class to get my job. I need to take this psychology class so I can take my, like economic class. So if you have only extrinsic motivation, that works, but maybe it's differently working, right? Yeah. So purpose of what you really want to learn versus I must accomplish this one as a good grade. That means in terms of only if you're really focusing on extrinsic motivation, ending up you may do some cheating. Ending up because it doesn't matter no matter what, I need to get good grade. I need to get A for this class instead of having those intrinsic motivation. But I kind of tell you one more time, there is intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Many times we do pursue both at the same time. So we will watch a short video clip about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Okay.
Intrinsic motivation is what drives you to do things because you do it for you, because you enjoy doing it or you like doing it, and you get personal satisfaction from doing it. The action itself is something that you like.
An example would be I played soccer for 14 years, and even though practice and stuff was really hard, I still went because I wanted to go, because it made me feel good playing.
So I go to this family and I volunteer. They're war refugees from Syria. I go there and I teach them English and I play with their kids, and the goal is to help them adapt to their life here. And I have nothing to win for it, but it makes me so happy every time I'm there because I feel like I'm with my family. So it's something that I do because of an intrinsic motivation. I just enjoy being with them.
Something that motivates me intrinsically is needlework. I knit, crochet, I have something beautiful when I'm done.
An extrinsic motivation is something that you do in order to get a reward after you complete the action, or because you want to avoid the punishment if you don't do it.
Extrinsic motivation is whenever you get motivated by something outside of yourself, so it'd be an external stimulus, and it'd be if I go to school for 4 years, my dad will buy me a new car.
You do it more for the end result, such as cleaning your house. I don't enjoy it, but I don't like living in filth, so I do it.
So I work because I have to work to get money to pay for my bills. So the whole reason to work is to get that extra money.
You work in order to get money, or because you have no other choice, or because you don't want to be in the streets. It can be both intrinsic and extrinsics though with work, depending on what you would like to do. For example, when I'll become a psychologist, I want to be a psychologist, I'll be working for the money because it's an extrinsic motivation, but also I'll enjoy doing it. So it's going to be intrinsic as well.
So at one point in my life, I was intrinsically motivated to play soccer because it made me feel good and I really enjoyed playing. And when transferred from middle school to high school, my mom became an extrinsic force because she wanted me to get scholarships. So soccer became less intrinsic than extrinsic. So it kind of really made my motivation go down because I wasn't doing it because I loved it. I was doing it because I had to do it for a scholarship.
Intrinsically brings more joy to me. I'm more self-motivated to do it. Extrinsically, I do it more because I have to, or because it's required of me.
Okay, so at this time, I want to ask you, is there anything you have intrinsic motivation, and maybe anything like more like extrinsic motivation? And just like an example, you maybe begin with the intrinsic motivation. I really love playing soccer. Yeah, so soccer is my life, and I just kind of into it and realize there's opportunity. If you do well the soccer, you can get full scholarship for the college. So you really need to win and having really good record because get like university for free as a scholarship. So intrinsic motivation can be more like extrinsic motivation. It's not bad at all, but possibly to kind of transfer to intrinsic to the extrinsic. So if you're thinking about anything, maybe intrinsic motivation, you just like to do it. So you are doing it. There's not much reward going on, but I want to do it because I love to do it. Versus, I need to do it. I mean, I like it, but I really need to do it because there's some, reward going on, and maybe I need to get that, maybe some money. So think about it, maybe a little bit, for a while. And if you're ready, maybe you can share with us. Okay. Maybe my case, I love teaching. From very young age. My both parents are teachers, so maybe from young age, like young age means like early childhood, I brought my all the dolls in front of me, and then I'm the teacher and they're all my students. And then try to kind of teach a certain concept. And I really love like being teacher role, even starting from very young age. So when I was in elementary school, I want to be an elementary school teacher and kind of pretend I'm an elementary school teacher and go up and up, and now I become a college professor. So I really like my job intrinsically, and also now I get paid because I'm teaching. So I guess those are good examples of intrinsic motivation and also extrinsic motivation. Yeah, both, right? So Daniel, if you have any example, maybe intrinsic motivation first.
I can use, both with my degree.
Okay.
So, intrusive would be like, I like helping others. I like, for one, I like making people happy and enjoy their time on, Earth. And I like, having something different to do every day as a job, because doing the same thing daily can get old real quick. But being a nurse, I would love to be a nurse because I'd do something different every day. I'd meet lots of people every day and get to help people. So that would be like my intrusive motivation. And then the extrusive, that would be like the government is paying me monthly. As long as I do full-time college, they pay me a monthly housing allowance based off of your zip code.
I see.
So, like, that's an extrusive, if I go to school and do it full-time rather than part-time or online,
I see.
I wouldn't get that.
I see. So that's a really good example. Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, you are here. Right? That's awesome. Just like the same as, with me, because I'm here because I love teaching and I get paid as well. So I need to be here, right? Okay, good. So there are psychologists and maybe scholars who really want to know about motivation. So here, classic theories of motivation is just kind of divided classic, like old kind of historical perspective, and current one, current common and popular one, kind of divide those theories. But it's interesting, so I want to let you know. So instinct theory and drive reduction theory and arousal theory. So those are theories. Why do we get motivated? What's the relationship with motivation and underline those theories? So we will see one by one. So starting from the instinct theory. So instinct theory is motivation is biologically innate. Sorry, maybe I need to drink water. So if you're looking at this picture, Daniel, could you describe what's happening here?
Birds making a nest to lay their eggs and have a little home.
Just like that, interesting theories say maybe we do have those, just like a biological need. We need to seek those, hunger needs and thirst needs. We need to get motivation to eat and to quench those thirst. So the humans are just like other animals, making some, like a nest. So we have our own motivated biologically try to get certain things and building house. But I guess if we compare birds making a nest versus humans finding a home, it's a little different because we already have a home, but we are looking for bigger and better home, right? Always motivated to get a bigger and maybe larger home, right? But birds are different. Once they make those nests, that's it. Not much motivation left to build another one, unless they have more, they need to lay more eggs, right? So, but motivation is biologically innate. Human beings, just like a bird making a nest, we are just, in vulnerability. We need to seek our motivation to live in this world. Those are instinct theory. And second one is underlying drive reduction theory. So as a human being, we do live in this world. We do have a biological drives, like a hunger needs and thirst and sexual desire and comfort. We are looking for those, right? And once we do not meet those, biological drive, you may feel like a sensation, not comfortable, and we are very thirsty, and then you want to eat food, right? So drive reduction theory, their perspective is we really need to quench, kind of accomplish what we really want to do, which is like a biological need, and then feeling some emotional status, like a more stable emotional status. So homeostasis means like our bodily reaction. We have like a good temperature-wise and nutrition-wise and those hunger and comfort level. Try to make a good balance. So motivation-wise, we try to eat. We try to have some like a comfort to exercise and maybe sexual behavior because body want and try to meet our biological need. So kind of making some stable status our body. Those are drive reduction theory. And critics on that is curiosity. Are you a curious person like Daniel? Try to kind of know more and maybe other things. Yeah, curious. Curious. Okay, curious. Yeah, I know several individuals. They are very curious. Always, what's going on? Why is that? Have you heard about some news? Right? Yeah, it's very curious. So curiosity is there's no like maybe quenching point of curiosity. When you kind of figure it out, certain news, you wanna kind of go know more and more and more. So maybe this theory cannot explain about the curiosity. So even though you drink water and you have some food, now you are good. But curiosity is a little different. When you kind of reach, oh, I got that fact, and then that's interesting. So what else? What's the next? So we are kind of keep thinking about next and next. So how would you explain using those drive reduction theory? So here, arousal theory. So Daniel, if you're thinking of you, are you kind of anxious and nervous, try to do the new thing? Or maybe you're pretty calm?
Oh yeah, I'm always anxious and nervous.
Yeah, me too, honestly.
Always.
Yeah, always, yeah. So always, yeah. Even like, we do like a TV program here, and at the beginning, I feel like a little anxious going on. I'm okay. I don't need to take a medicine because, I'm here and I'm nervous, but I can begin to. It can be really bother me. I need to take the, medicine and get some, consult with a doctor. But kind of, I'm a little nervous, yeah. So, it's okay. It's okay. It's really personal things too. So, arousal theory is arousal, like a little anxiousness going on, and kind of, it can be good thing, like excited. Arousal means like excited too. But ideally, Yerkes Dawson's law, moderate level of arousal, that's good, relating with a good performance. Yeah. So imagine you are taking tomorrow, by the way, one more time, you are taking exam 2, covering chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6. Introduction to psychology exam, it's not that hard. I already give you study guide, and even though it's a timed exam, you have plenty of time. And so honestly, you may have a high arousal. High arousal means high attention. Because you may make a mistake. You just kind of, oh yeah, number 1, 2, 3. If you do not pay attention, you may not having a good score. But you may have a little high arousal, which means try to pay attention and maybe focusing on better as a high arousal. But imagine you need to take the nursing exam, become a registered nurse. I heard it's really hard, like all day long, right? So in that case, you may need to have low arousal. You need to try to be more relaxed and no tension, and you just kind of keep breathing, and I can do it, it's gonna be okay. So kind of, put your body more like a low arousal. Yeah, and then you can do well your nursing big bar exam. But introduction to psychology exam, you need to be more pay attention because it's not that hard, but if you pay attention, you can be better. So depending on the situation and depending on the exam, but in the kind of optimal way, the middle, like a moderate level of arousal kind of gets you better score and better performance. Yeah, that's their theory, arousal theory. Because as a human being, in order to do certain tasks, you need to have those arousal, kind of at least minimum amount of arousal, paying attention, and kind of those motivation. So that's their theory. Let's go to the contemporary theories of motivation. Those are well-known theory. We need to learn about that theory. So self-determination theory, regulatory focus theory, and achievement goal theory. So today we will cover these three perspective, and then maybe we can call it a day. So starting from self-determination theory. Those are really well-known theory. So definition-wise, strongest and healthiest motivations are those from within yourself, intrinsic motivation. Of course, extrinsic motivation is important, but begin, you really want to do well. You really want to serve other people and help other people. So you make a decision to become a nurse, right? Those are intrinsic motivation is really important. So doing something because you want to, rather than because you have to. Yeah, it's a different performance, result. So studying and exercising and healthy eating. So think about that. We already talked together. Daniel's case, study hard. It does include intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. For me, teaching does include intrinsic motivation because I wanna deliver this psychology knowledge well to the students who are taking this class, and maybe other psychology class as well. And also I got paid too, right? But their theory is really emphasizing importance of the intrinsic motivation. Yeah, that's really matter, and it can change. So if you're thinking about that, I had a lot of volunteering job as a teacher. So from young age, I was helping my small church and become a Sunday school teacher, but nobody paid for me. But I have an intrinsic motivation. I want to teach well and serve other people better. So that intrinsic motivation keep motivating me to, getting better education and try to be working hard and get a good grade to go to better school because I want to get educated with good knowledge. Yeah, so that's, intrinsic motivation and lead me up to here. So, self-determination theory is really emphasizing importance of the intrinsic motivation for the better result. Okay, let's go to the next one. Daniel, could you describe what's really happening? Yeah, can you make some story to me?
They're enjoying some coffee. They're camping out next to the water. Maybe they're like doing some trout fishing or something. And they're just enjoying some morning coffee while commuting, like talking, communicating.
Very good, very good. And I think it looks like they're a little cold too, like a smoke is coming up. Yeah, I know you went to Colorado. Yeah, Colorado.
I went to a lot of places.
Yeah, lots of places. Yeah. So thinking about that, imagine you are going to go some trip, but you never been there. It can be Germany, can be a good example for you too. So you never been to? Have you ever been to Yellowstone? Yeah, me neither, but that's one of the bucket list. I want to go someday. So let's just say, thinking about, Daniel and I, we decide to go to the Yellowstone. What is your feeling? What is your, thinking about it? You're excited?
Ready for nature, ready to
Ready
see
for
some
nature
stuff.
and try to see.
I love nature though, so
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'll just be excited mainly.
Really, we'll be excited, and maybe we will see some geyser, like a little smoke there. But I heard maybe you should be fortunate to see those geyser. But most time, maybe we can kind of see if we stay there maybe 1 week, right? Yeah. So in your case, more like excitement is kind of going more, right? But for me, I'm excited. It will be really fun because that's one of my bucket lists. But at the same time, I'm kind of worried about it. How can let's say we are going to drive, right? How can we drive there? I'm not great at driving. And what if there's a car accident? Yeah. And then once we get there, what if bear may attack us?
You worry a lot.
Yeah. So instead of, thinking good thing comes to, in that Yellowstone, I kind of thinking about, maybe we need to protect ourselves. We need to bring some bear spray and make sure our food should be inside of our car and all things, right? Yeah, I heard so many information about going to Yellowstone and staying in that park, but I've never been to. So here, those are regulatory focus theory. So their theory is when we plan to do certain work, motivation, maybe plan to go certain new place, Yellowstone, Disney World, even like go to college, right? You are excited. Oh, I'm so excited to go to college. I'm going to learn so many good, knowledge. And also I'm going to meet good professors and friends, making good friends, right? Those are more like promotion motivation. You're very promoted. Oh, you will be very excited to go to Yellowstone. And the other one is prevention motivation. I don't know, it's going to be excited, but what if the bear attack me? I need to prepare bear spray and, make sure everything is kind of in package of all the, like food, and you need to think about maybe easiest route to get not, like having some car accident. So if you're kind of thinking about all the what if situation, it can be prevention motivation. But maybe we know, we need to have both. Right? Excitement and only excitement and not much preparation because we are going to big mountain, Yellowstone. We need to prepare maybe some thick clothing too because in the nighttime it will drop the temperature, right? So we need to have a good promotion and prevention motivation to accomplish our desire. Yeah, so that's their theory. So having some regulatory fit, which is like a good fit between those promotion motivation and having those prevention motivation. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay, so next one. That's going to be our last, like a theory we can kind of introduce today. So achievement goal theory, it's really interesting concept and very popular concept too. So we are gonna watch one video clip. Those are TED Talks. So after that, we can kind of having conversation together. Sorry.
When I was 27 years old, I left a very demanding job in management consulting for a job that was even more demanding, teaching.
Sorry, I will make sure.
I went to teach 7th graders math.
Let's do it this way.
TED Talks are good.
Yeah. Is it working? Okay. Sorry. Let's go watch one more time here.
When I was 27 years old, I left a very demanding job in management consulting for a job that was even more demanding, teaching. I went to teach 7th graders math in the New York City public schools. And like any teacher, I made quizzes and tests, I gave out homework assignments. When the work came back, I calculated grades. What struck me was that IQ was not the only difference between my best and my worst students. Some of my strongest performers did not have stratospheric IQ scores. Some of my smartest kids weren't doing so well. And that got me thinking. The kinds of things you need to learn in 7th grade math, sure, they're hard. Ratios, decimals, the area of a parallelogram. But these concepts are not impossible. And I was firmly convinced that every one of my students could learn the material if they worked hard and long enough. After several more years of teaching, I came to the conclusion that what we need in education is a much better understanding of students and learning from a motivational perspective, from a psychological perspective. In education, the one thing we know how to measure best is IQ. But what if doing well in school and in life depends on much more than your ability to learn quickly and easily? So I left the classroom and I went to graduate school to become a psychologist. I started studying kids and adults in all kinds of super challenging settings. And in every study, my question was, who is successful here and why? My research team and I went to West Point Military Academy. We tried to predict which cadets would stay in military training and which would drop out. We went to the National Spelling Bee and tried to predict which children would advance farthest in competition. We studied rookie teachers working in really tough neighborhoods, asking which teachers are still going to be here in teaching by the end of the school year. And of those, who will be the most effective at improving learning outcomes for their students? We partnered with private companies asking which of these salespeople is going to keep their jobs and who's going to earn the most money. In all those very different contexts, one characteristic emerged as a significant predictor of success. And it wasn't social intelligence, it wasn't good looks, physical health, and it wasn't IQ. It was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. Grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. A few years ago, I started studying grit in the Chicago public schools. I asked thousands of high school juniors to take grit questionnaires, and then waited around more than a year to see who would graduate. Turns out that grittier kids were significantly more likely to graduate, even when I matched them on every characteristic I could measure. Things like family income, standardized achievement test scores, even how safe kids felt when they were at school. So it's not just at West Point or the National Spelling Bee that grit matters, it's also in school, especially for kids at risk for dropping out. To me, the most shocking thing about grit is how little we know, how little science knows about building it. Every day, parents and teachers ask me, how do I build grit in kids? What do I do to teach kids a solid work ethic? How do I keep them motivated for the long run? The honest answer is, I don't know. What I do know is that talent doesn't make you gritty. Our data show very clearly that there are many talented individuals who simply do not follow through on their commitments. In fact, in our data, grit is usually unrelated or even inversely related to measures of talent. So far, the best idea I've heard about building grit in kids is something called growth mindset. This is an idea developed at Stanford University by Carol Dweck, and it is the belief that the ability to learn is not fixed, that it can change with your effort. Dr. Dweck has shown that when kids read and learn about the brain and how it changes and grows in response to challenge, they're much more likely to persevere when they fail because they don't believe that failure is a permanent condition. So growth mindset is a great idea for building grit, but we need more. And that's where I'm going to end my remarks, because that's where we are. That's the work that stands before us. We need to take our best ideas, our strongest intuitions, and we need to test them. We need to measure whether we've been successful, and we have to be willing to fail, to be wrong, to start over again with lessons learned. In other words, we need to be gritty about getting our kids grittier. Thank you.
Get down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay, so that's it. I guess it's a little confusing here. Is it good now? Okay. It's good. So those are achievement goal theory. What do you think about the video clip? Just kind of overall.
I think she barely knew anything about what she was talking about. But I mean, I understand what she was getting at. Like, I mean, grit does have, I mean, determination definitely does have a lot to do with how well somebody will do. And it, just like everybody knows, how you raise your kid has a huge impact on how they do in this world. It really does. They're a sponge. They soak up everything. You can only do your best.
That's right, that's right. So the definition of grit is we need to have a passion, but passion is not enough. We need to have a passion and perseverance. We need to keep trying, even though you failed, maybe one of the tests, and maybe some assignment. Just kind of keep your effort again, maybe more effort, and try to get better. And maybe this time you can kind of pass the exam. So don't give up, basically. You need to keep doing it until you reach your goal. So that's really important concept and popular concept now in psychology. I mean, not only recently, but it has been. So there are two different kind of goals. Mastery goals versus performance goal. I mean, both sounds good to me, right? Mastery goal, you master. You want to know about the content, right? So deeper learning. Use some, persistently and maybe patiently try to reach your goal. Those are more like a mastery goal. Performance goal, I mean, we do need to have a good performance goal. You need to get good grade, maybe like an A, maybe first person in them, maybe certain, like a running group and all things. But performance in this context, it's more focusing on like only focusing on the result. It doesn't matter those, process, you really do care about your grade. So that means no matter what, you need to get A for this class. It's okay, you can cheating, you can copy somebody else's work, but performance is really matter. How other people look at you and then try to evaluate, that's your grade, nothing else. Not they're gonna evaluate you, your effort. But honestly, mastery goals we do care about your process. So in education department and psychology department, and also I believe other department, we are not evaluating and assessing our students only through exam, because the exam is not enough. We need to make some portfolio and try to accumulate their work beginning of their semester and at the end of the semester. So have you ever taken those kind of class? Not only evaluate students, those exam, but also to care about their project, like a portfolio, and putting all together, making some, their artwork or their maybe scheduling and anything else relating with those topics.
Talent show.
Even talent show, yeah, you can kind of write down about what did you do for your talent show. They can, if it is a part of your those subject matter, right? Yeah. So that's the mastery goal versus like a performance goal. And if you have a growth mindset, so fixed mindset is if you're thinking about you and me, maybe you can thinking about if you fail. What comes into your mind, Daniel? If you fail and do not do well, what comes into your mind?
I'm not owe money.
Yeah. So, I used to be, when I was junior high and high school, if I fail, you remember I kind of shared my math anxiety, right? So if I fail, I feel like, oh, math is not my subject. I'm not good at math. Maybe I need to put more effort to the maybe language arts or maybe other subject. Compensate those score. But I guess in this concept, growth mindset is you can keep trying. You need to put more effort, you can be better. Because your ability is not fixed. You can still grow. There's a possibility. So in my case, if you feel like I was overwhelmed and do my math test, I need to be strong and speak up. Sarah, you can do it. That's only one-time failure. If you put more effort and try to put more manage like time-wise, because I was really stressed out, within 45 minutes I need to solve like 35 questions. It can be too much for me, but I need to practice, like speed up my solving, mathematical question skills, right? But I was more like reluctant because I put lots of effort, I believe. I thought in that way at that moment. And I didn't do well, and I didn't do well on that exam and ruined my exam. I don't know what to do. Maybe this is time to focus on other subject. But instead of that, you keep digging to, give you more chance, at least one more chance to study more, to get better. Those are growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And also mastery goal, because you are failing, but still you are learning. And on a big spectrum, you're keep increasing and promoting and going up. But I think that's a part of a slope, right? So we need to thinking about mastery goals versus performance goal. So far we've been talking about all different kind of subjects, cognition and intelligence and also motivation. And next Tuesday, we are going to keep talking about motivation and emotion. But remember, tomorrow you need to take exam 2 through the Blackboard. So thank you so much. Yeah, and have a great day. Awesome. Yeah.